Kelly Quinn?
This is she.
Oh, okay. Yes, this is KQEO in Albuquerque. I've got Carl Thomas.
Great. I'm all ready.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'll put you on hold. You'll be able to hear the radio station. The show will start here in a moment, and then Carl will just start talking to you.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, when he does start talking to you, the volume dips just a little bit. That's real temporary, and it comes back.
Okay.
So some people don't hear a couple of the first few words, but then all of a sudden, so just kind of be ready for that.
Okay, yeah, you're not real loud anyway.
Okay, well, let's see how loud this is.
Welcome to Health Options on News Talk 920.
How's that?
Not bad. Could be cranked up a bit, but I can hear it okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yourself to better health and fitness. Health Options is brought to you by BK's Health Pantry. 119 San Pasquale, Southwest near historic Old Town. BK's Health Pantry, where service has always been as important as quality. Now here's the host of Health Options, Carl Thomas.
Welcome back. Another week, and as usual, time flies and we're having fun. We've got an interesting guest today, Kelly Quinn. She became interested in herbs and alternative medicine and stuff. Gosh, when she was widowed, I guess at age 32, and she had 3 young children at the time. She's also diagnosed with a life-threatening disease, for which her doctors didn't seem to have any solutions. So like many of us, she relied on her own awareness of herbs and kind of took control of her own health. And through the intense research, she educated herself about herbs and found solutions to her condition. And in fact, now she's also authored a book, Help Yourself Learn to Use Herbs. She's also editor of a monthly Help Yourself to Health journal. And she's currently working on her autobiography as well as a complete herb book for women. She lives in San Clemente with her 3 kids, and I sure welcome her on today, Kelly.
Hi, Carl. It's nice to be here. Hello? Hello? Hi, can you hear me?
Sounds like we lost you for a second on the line.
Okay.
You're coming in loud and clear.
I'm back now?
Yep.
Okay.
When you, I mentioned that, you'd had an ailment that they didn't seem to be able to take care of with doing allopathic medicine.
Right.
And you kind of, on your own, took charge of your own health and went from there.
Pretty much, I had always been like everybody else. You go to the doctor, they tell you what's wrong, you take the pill, and usually you get better. But imagine my surprise to find out that I could die, and they didn't have anything to give me.
Yes. That made my search a little more interesting.
Oh, it certainly did. It certainly did. And I got a lot of help from my father, who wrote Left for Dead, Dick Quinn, with that. But I also did a lot of experimentation on my own with different kinds of herbs and supplements. And basically, you learn to listen to your body. With what works, you feel better. And if it doesn't, you stop taking it.
Yeah, sometimes I think people don't realize that every medication, every drug, even though sometimes it helps the symptom, also has some side effects.
You know what was amazing?
Get ahead.
You know what was amazing? I was just looking through a list of different medications out there, and what I was diagnosed with was chronic active hepatitis. And the drugs that they gave me for fluid retention, which happens when the liver fails, and for pain, which was very strong and unpleasant, all have negative side effects on the liver. Jaundice is a major side effect, and so you're taking something to eliminate the symptom that's still making the problem worse. And herbs don't work that way.
Yeah, they're relatively easy and safe. Sometimes I think people don't give them enough time.
I think that people, that, and it's so hard to find out how to do it in a lot of ways. If you can go into a health store and talk to somebody who knows, that's helpful, but like the labeling nowadays, you can't tell what you're taking a lot of the time.
That's true. Part of it is, they're restricting what they can say more and more, so it even makes it harder.
Yes.
You buy some herb books, and it'll say hepatitis, and then it lists 8 herbs. But
Yeah.
It say, are they boiled? Are they simmered? Are they steeped? How much do you take? How much do you use?
Yeah.
It lists the herbs.
That's true, and that's what scared me too when I first started doing it. But I found that, availability is the key too. If all you can find is this herb in an extract, you're better off taking it than not taking it. And a lot of times they're already pre-encapsulated, so you're just going to take it that way. And, if you do a lot, you might get into buying them in bulk and trying to make teas. And it's kind of fun. Once you start out, you're experimenting on yourself. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we always try and encourage people because they're not familiar with herbs at the same time. They kind of want to try.
Right.
We always say, well, what's easy for you? Do you want to do a tea or a capsule? Because they come, every way you can think of.
Well, it's funny, too, because you wouldn't dream of going into a drugstore and experimenting with the drugs on the shelf there.
Yeah, that's right.
But yet you can go into an herb store, or health store, rather, and there's just stuff all over that you would be really interested to try.
Yeah, although you I go in probably most Americans and open their medicine chest, and it looked like they're probably experimenting with the drugstore.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They probably have 6 prescription drugs, 6 over-the-counter drugs, 6 things a friend gave them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and things that they didn't bother to finish because they really didn't work, but you don't want to throw it out because you might need it again, you know.
Yeah, we've gone to people's houses sometimes, you know, and doing programs and things. Then they open their medicine chest, and it just boggles the mind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's really true. But, you know, as you start experimenting with things and finding things that really work, you stop thinking about drugs the same way. And you find that you're automatically thinking of something that you might have around the house already, that's a natural remedy. And it really does change. I feel so much healthier than I felt all my life.
That's right. You're really not anti-drug.
No, I'm not. I mean, my daughter got really sick a couple months ago with a strep infection. Not the eating my face kind that's been so popular now, but just your basic strep. But she had 106 fever, and I rushed her right to the emergency room. And they did give her some antibiotics, but I also gave her fever few, which took the fever down instead of the Tylenol. You know, I kept her on Cayenne to build her immune system. She got extra C's, and I also gave her some things with Golden Seal, and she's fine. So, I mean, you kind of can incorporate things in. When you're dealing with yourself, it's easier because you know how you feel. When you're dealing with a child, it's a little bit more. You got to really watch them.
And part of it is that we need to think of simpler things first. We have a tendency, if we get sick or something, that we go for the drug, which really should be the last thing we try.
Yes, that's true.
Hardest on it.
That's true. It takes the most out of you. It does not usually get rid of the problem. If one of the biggest things we use is aloe all the time now. I started out, I'd go to conventions and they'd have aloe flavoring juices and stuff, and I'd say, what's it for? No one seemed to know. Finally, I found out what it's for, and you use it for stomach problems of all kinds. We never buy Pepto-Bismol, Alka-Seltzer, anything like that anymore, which can upset the stomach anyway. So, I mean, it's just amazing. There is something for everything out there.
I did a show one time on 20 herbs. If you had like 1 ounce of these 20 herbs, you could handle just about anything in the house. It's like having a first aid kit.
Yeah, there are herbs like that, that's for sure. Cayenne is one of the ones that we always have in stock. We use that put it on cuts to stop bleeding and heal, and it's just fabulous.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into it. You were diagnosed with hepatitis?
Right. I'd always taken Cayenne since my father got into it in the 80s, and I felt pretty good most of the time, but I didn't really pay much attention and didn't take a lot of things on a regular basis. And after my husband died, the stress of that, a couple months later, it was like July of '92, I turned yellow one day. I was putting in my contacts, my eyes were yellow, like coffee stained. And I'd noticed it before, but living in California, I usually have a tan, and I kind of just didn't pay much attention. But this time, I thought, this is not right. So I went to the doctor, and it turned out I had hepatitis for a long time, didn't know it. I was not contagious, but yet the damage was ongoing, and it had flared up due to stress. And that's how we got a diagnosis there. They told me there was nothing that they had to give me except diuretics or pain pills, all of which really stopped working after a couple of days anyway. And if I could hang on for another 10 years, I might get a liver transplant. You know, and the thing is, I had just lost my husband. I've got 3 children to raise. I couldn't afford to go anywhere, and I needed to be healthy. You know? And when they told me that I had liver biopsy, it was a lot of fun in a way because I got to go, it's like as a kid watching Medical Center. I finally got a chance to see some of this stuff in action. But it didn't pan out the way Medical Center does because they didn't have anything for me. I started taking milk thistle, cayenne, Oregon grape root, and I started feeling a little better. But what really did the thing for me is experimenting with things like I take dandelion leaf, and I take a lot of that, and that makes such a difference. And I found that with the hepatitis led to things like my skin would break out. Oh, it was worse than any teenager you'd ever seen. I also looked like, because of the stress and being sick, I looked really old. People would see my father and I, and they would think that we were husband and wife and they told me how great he looked. For his age, not me. So I came up with a tea that I drink, and my skin is clear again. I've lost 20 pounds in the last year, and I just feel great. And my liver function tests have been good, and I can't figure it out. I know why, but they're not. We're going to wait and see there. But I think that how you feel is what shows I'm a regular person again.
Yeah, maybe you ought to explain how the herbs work. They don't work the same pathway that the drug is.
No, the way it works is usually an herb will go to the source of the problem and correct the problem. The symptoms signal you've got a problem. Herbs will go, and they're nutritionally complete, especially if they're whole herbs. If they're an extract, they may not be. You may need to take a little less of extract. But for example, they had me on a diuretic. It didn't work. The side effects were horrible. Now when I take dandelion leaf, it works. I don't have to worry about losing potassium. It corrects the problem, and it's totally nutritious. And so it's like eating a salad.
We're going to go to a quick break. If any of your listeners would like to ask Kelly a question, I'm sure she'd love to answer it. The number is 345-7920. We'll be right back.
Do you realize just how much difference there is in life insurance rates from one insurance company to the next? For instance, if you're in good health and don't smoke cigarettes, Garden State Life Insurance may be able to save you as much as 50% off the cost of your life insurance. That's right, 30, 40, 50% off what you're paying for term life insurance protection. And now there's more good news. Lower rates, more benefit choices, and premiums that stay the same for 8, 10, even 20 years. So if you need $25,000 to $1 million or more of quality term life insurance, you owe it to yourself to get the facts fast by calling 800.